And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, the Monday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show is in your ear holes. What's happening, y'all? Happy Monday to you, my bleeping goodness. What a sports weekend it turned out to be. I thought there was potential for it to be a very good sports weekend. It turned out to be a phenomenal sports weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trevor Lawrence have arrived. TL16 took a massive step forward, knocking off the Cowboys. We're going to get into that. Argentina win the 2022 World Cup by way of defeating France in penalty kicks after, and I do not say this lightly, you all know my hesitancy to declare something that is happening now to be the best or the greatest or the most entertaining or whatever, because none of us want to fall victim to recency bias, but I can confidently say that Argentina versus France was the single best soccer match I have ever watched. It had everything you wanted. It had 6 goals. It had 2 of them in stoppage time. It had a hero being made out of the one of, if not the, and I think I can now confidently say the greatest soccer player of all time, and Lionel Messi. It had a dramatic conclusion. Everything you wanted out of that game was had. Spectacular match, and I say this with a lot of trepidation because, like I said, I don't want to declare something that just happened to be the GOAT game I've ever watched. I don't know that it was the single greatest sporting event I've ever watched. I can tell you with some level of certainty that Argentina v. France was amongst the 3 best sporting events that I have ever watched. Amongst the 3 best sporting events I've ever watched. And we're going to talk about that game coming up later, as I genuinely believe that Messi has cemented himself as the greatest football player of all time with that win. The only accolade he was missing was a World Cup championship, and now he has it. We'll talk about that later on in the program. The Carolina Panthers had the door opened for them yesterday, and they stubbed their toe going through it. We're going to talk about that coming up later on in the radio broadcast, because I am now concerned that the Panthers may get back to the end of the season, look back at the L yesterday to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and think, what a wasted opportunity. What a wasted opportunity. We'll talk about that coming up later on in the show. We are wall-to-wall today. And I'll tell you why real quick, and then we'll get to it. We are wall-to-wall today because Rob Brown is in the studio today. Rob Brown is in the studio tomorrow, and then you will not hear from Rob Brown, at least on the radio broadcast, until the new year.
Hey, yo, Rob Brown in the studio. Rob Brown today, tomorrow.
On the mic!
No Rob Brown for the rest of the year, yo.
That's it. I am in today. I'm in tomorrow. We will have Carter Bryant and Carlos filling in for you the rest of this week. That will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week, we will be off on Monday celebrating Christmas. Then Tuesday through Friday, Carter will have you. The week after that, the weekend after that, obviously, is the new year. We will be off that Monday as everybody except Lonzo will be recovering. And then we'll be back on that Tuesday, and that'll be my next day back in the building. So here's what we're going to do. Today is all the things. Today is all the things. We're talking the World Cup. We're talking college football's bowl season. We're talking the NFL results from yesterday. Tomorrow is pretty much, with one or two exceptions, going to be wall-to-wall college football playoff predictions and prognostications, because I will not talk to you again until after the playoffs are over. So tomorrow's show will pretty much be wall-to-wall college football playoff talk. Obviously, we'll have a couple of other things that'll be sprinkled in there, hither and yon. And then we are off until, or I am off until the the Tuesday after the new year, in which case the college football playoffs will be done with, and we'll have a natty to discuss at that point. So everything that you want to get in, your last chance to get it in before the new year is today and tomorrow. That's it. I want to see the phone calls. I want to see the tweets. I want to see the text. I want to see the emails. I want you guys involved, because after tomorrow, I have 13 consecutive days without a show. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with myself during the day, because usually when I'm off, I'm going somewhere. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to the Dominican. I'm traveling. Like ordinarily, if I'm not working, it's because I'm doing something. This time, I'm literally just hanging out. I'm just taking days off because I have them and I don't want to waste them. So it's going to be me and the lady friend traveling around the upstate doing nothing at all. And it's going to be glorious. But if you want to get on the air with me and Zoe one last time before 2023, then today and tomorrow are your last chances. Hi, Lonzo.
By the way, I'll be here all week. But then I'm gone too after that. So, I mean, so I'll be here with Carlos and with Carter Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then I'll be gone the rest of the time. But I'm curious, you act like you're just going to be like completely silent. Are you still going to be on social media?
Oh, yeah.
You're still going to be able to interact with you there?
Okay. You'll be able to interact with me on Twitter at The Rob Brown Show. Same with Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. You can also keep track of the page, because I will also tell you that just because I'm sitting at the house, the lady friend is going to be working, which means a good chunk of the time I will just be hanging at the house. I will get bored. I will pop up on some live streams and chats just for fun. I will likely pop up. I'm talking to Rashad right now. Rashad's going to see if he can join the show with us tomorrow so that we don't miss our weekly hit. If he cannot, then Rashad and I, and if Lonzo's available on Thursday, depending on what time, Rashad and I will probably do a web exclusive live stream where we'll have a little bit more time than we usually do in our weekly interview, and we'll just talk Panther football without the radio constraints of advertisements involved.
Yeah, you don't want me on that.
Why?
Because I'm going to have some words.
Some words
today and later on the Views from Mint Street podcast. Yeah,
we will be getting into that, because I was looking at the social during that Panthers Steelers game on Sunday, and first off, I thought first and foremost, the Panthers fans did what we asked Lonzo. There were a lot of Steelers fans in that building, but it did not turn out to be a Steelers home game like it did when Pittsburgh played in Atlanta a few weeks ago, right? Which was a Steelers home game. I think the bank was probably 60-40 Panthers fans. I would have liked to have seen it be a little bit more silver and blue than black and yellow. Shut up, Steelers fans. Your colors are black and yellow, not black and gold. Knock it off. But what was disappointing was, although the fact that, with a couple of exceptions, Sam Darnold actually looked pretty good throwing the football. I thought he looked okay. Not great, not Pro Bowl caliber, but especially that first touchdown to DJ Moore where he lasered that thing right over the pylon. I thought Sam looked okay, but if I told you coming into the game, if you would, let me rephrase that. Let me make this about me. Had you told me coming into that game that the Carolina Panthers were going to run the football, 15 times?
All right, so my concerns were validated because that's what I said. What will they do when they go up against a defense that stops the run? Will they continue to run, or will they stop and change their plans? And that's exactly what they did, and everyone's going to blame Ben McAdoo, but he ain't the head coach. That's all I'm saying. And which side of the field was the worst side of the field? That would be the defense. Who's a defensive coach? Who's got more of a hand with the defense? I'm just saying that's all I'm saying. And, but they didn't really lose anything yesterday. So there's that.
Mitchell Trubisky, 17 of 22, $179, an 83 QBR. It wasn't a spectacular. It wasn't a bad one, but it wasn't a spectacular.
It was a heck of a tryout for the Panthers' new coach, though. And so I'm looking forward to having that kind of tenacity, the ability to do things with less, like a real head coach can.
Chuba Hubbard, 4 carries, 10 yards. Deontay Foreman, 10 carries, 9 yards. Sam Darnold, 2 carries, 2 yards. The team rushed as a whole 16 times for 21 yards, an average of 1.3 yards per run. But here is the question, because I know, and I saw this on social early in the game, the fact that the Steelers were overloading the box, especially to the right side, which is the preferred side to run for Deontay Foreman. They were rushing they were basically stepping up, overloading the box, and daring Carolina to drop back and throw the ball. And the problem is the Panthers did that. They did that. Darnold got sacked 4 times in this game. He had 2 rushes for positive yards. That's 6 additional called pass plays in that game. They tried to throw the ball 30 times. They tried to rush it 14 times. I don't care if they have loaded the box. You wear them down. You are a rushing team. Even when the defense is set up to stop the rush, you still are a rushing team. Wear them down and run the football. Be creative with the run. Run the football doesn't mean off-guard handoff in ISO every time. You can get creative with the run game. Set them up on some screen plays using the run. Do anything. That was the first time in about 4 weeks that end of the third period for this Panthers team, I was like, well, screw it. Let's go back to tanking, right? Because if you are going to completely drop all the things that bought you your first win streak in 4 years because the defense challenged you at the thing you want to do, what's the point? What's the point? I don't understand it. All they did was say, we don't think you can do that thing that you do. Well, if you get scared in that moment, why try for the playoffs? What's the point, right? You have to walk. I don't care if they put freaking 9 in the box. You walk up, you go, we're a damn good run team, and we're going to run it down your throat. Your 9 versus our 9. Let's see who wins. And Carolina backed down. They got scared, Lonzo. They backed down. They thought, let's just see if Sam's good to throw it 30 times in this game. And you already know the answer. He is not. So why the thing that we do really good, they're trying to stop. So let's try the thing that we don't do really well. What the hell, man?
I'm curious. Wilk's still your guy? Is he still the coach? Because week to week, it's a totally different story with the Panthers. They found out last week, here's what we do. We got 3 guys that we can throw in there and wear down that defense. Exactly what you're talking about. But they just gave up. They absolutely gave up on the run. Well, that's not working. What do we do now? Let's look at football for dummies. Oh, yeah, let's do this next. You just keep running the ball, okay? If they ran the ball over and over again, eventually they were going to wear those guys down. And that defense, the Pittsburgh defense, they were out to play, and they were wreaking havoc. And they look like Pittsburgh of old. They did. And the Panthers look like who they are.
So
we're going to build your expectations up, and then as soon as things get kind of Tough? Well, we got to find, things are, I don't know what to do. Oh, man, let's just throw the ball with Sam Darnold. Okay.
Here's the problem I have with that. Because I get it, and that's certainly what it feels like. But the problem I have with it is when you say the Panthers went back to being who they are, right? Back-to-back games.
They're a poorly coached team under an interim coach who is trying to prove points, and the point he's proven is he cannot be consistent. People got really excited, including us, when they won 2 games in a row. We should not get excited about a team winning 2 games in a row, because that's how bad the team is that you get excited that they win 2 games in a row. They didn't really lose ground yesterday, but at the same time, the Saints are going to come back and win this whole thing.
No, they're not. Tell you straight up as a Saints fan, the hell they are.
How could they not?
I don't want us to.
Yeah, well,
I don't want us to, because whoever wins this division is going to get rolled by 40 in the opening round of the playoffs.
It's not going to be Tampa Bay. It's not. They're done. So,
they looked awful.
Brady Brady looked really bad.
Brady went 260 and a pair of touches in the first half.
Praise your boy. Yeah, in the first half. What did he do?
More in the first half I'm sorry, did he drop the footballs?
What did he do when it was time to hit the cafeteria for the blue plate special? He got tarred.
Footballs
he got
for
tarred.
No reason.
He got tarred.
Watched his offensive line revert to allowing the defensive lineman to tip every football that he throws because nobody can force their hands down. We're not talking Tampa. I'll come back to Tampa
Rob,
later.
just how dare you, sir, talk about Tom Brady?
Stop it.
Yeah, I've heard all his apologies. Well, it's kind of my fault. Yeah, it is, because you're old.
I am not going to let you turn this into a Brady bashing opportunity. We still have to finish this Carolina talk.
Oh, okay.
You may try that later.
There's no try. There's only do when it comes to that.
Do or do not. There is no try. Let me get back to Carolina. Here's where I come out on that game. First off, Steve Wilks does not call the offensive plays. Now, do I want Steve Wilks to get on the mic and go,
"Hey, Ben, it's Steve. Yeah, I'm down here on the sideline where I am currently in the capacity of the head coach. And I could, if you could do me a favor and run the goddamn football, please, over."
That'd be great. But so this is one of those times, because I say it whenever there's a problem with the team. The play calling comes from Ben McAdoo, who I think outthinks himself. But at the same time, it is on Steve Wilks as the head coach to at some point get on the mic and go, "Hey, Ben, you know that thing that you've been doing this whole game that's not working? Got an idea. I don't think it's too revolutionary, but we'll see. Here's my idea. Don't do that anymore, Ben. Don't do that anymore." And listen.
You know what they did? They played a game that Baker Mayfield would have excelled in, because he's better at that kind of game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. You set up a game that would have been won by a Baker Mayfield, or you'd have had a better chance at winning. But regardless of all of that, you know Sam ain't the guy that's winning if you asked him to throw it 30 freaking times in a game. So even if the run wasn't working openly early, you don't abandon it. That's the only thing you're good at. The only thing.
Well, they were supposed to be good at defense too, and they were not yesterday.
Well, and again, I think we go back to early in the season, right?
Hey, they're going to run it around the edge. Why not? Let's put some guys over there to stop that run around the edge.
I think you go back to what it was like in the beginning of the season, where you'd finish a game and you'd look and you'd have defensive efficiency rankings that were towards the top in the league. And you go, how is this team giving up 400 yards, but adjusted ranked defensive efficiency ranking in the top 5 when they're giving up that many yards? And the answer is because they're being asked to do it against 65, 70 plays a game, whereas most NFL defenses are having to do it against 40, 45 plays a game, right? When your team is cranking 3 and outs consistently and your defense is repeatedly getting called onto the field, They might have great defensive efficiency, but because they're doing it twice as many times as any other defenses in a week, of course their numbers are going to be there. But again, just because the run's not there early doesn't mean you suddenly go, hey, we're Kurt Warner and the Rams from 2001. You're not. You're not. Stop. All right. Zoe and I are here today and tomorrow. Zoe's got you the rest of the week with Carter and Carlos with a K. I am here today and tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Can I give a special? I want to give a special
Yeah,
shout out on
fire away.
something. Something's going to happen this week that hasn't happened in a very long time. So there may be some of you who have turned away from the afternoon show, turned back in, because this is Diesel's first week to host the entire week. Please show up for Diesel. Be that audience that he needs. He doesn't need a confidence push. He's good as far as that goes, but show Diesel some love all this week.
Confidence boost. I have to rub butter on the walls for Diesel to get his head
right.
sometimes.
But show Diesel some love this week. Yeah. He's hosting all week, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing, better than anything you've ever heard.
I am hyped for my guy. I am hyped for my dude. I'm excited. I'll be listening. All right, let's take a break. Text line's open. Preferred Home Services text line is 7130771-307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. The phone lines are open. I want you guys working. I do not ask you to call very often, but I would love for you guys on the phone lines today and tomorrow. My last crack at it until the new year. 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. Whatever you want to talk about. It is the holidays. You can take it off topic, out of context, whatever you want. I don't care. Lonzo's already looking at the ground and shaking his head. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Random rants, holiday complaints. It is the airing of grievances, ladies and gentlemen. And we're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, got a live reading. We'll be right back. Stick around. Don't go anywhere.
Over $1 billion to business.
All right, kids, we're back. Thank you, Will. I used to work for the Ice Flyers back in the day. This was the first of my customized jersey collection.
It's on the screen, dude. But you know, Kevin's asking for the phone.
844-326-3663.
I just don't have it memorized because
Because he doesn't say it 19 times a show like I do.
Yeah, I used to, but I don't do that stuff anymore.
I say it more than 19 times a show. Probably, I'd say what, 30 times a show? I was the in-arena host for Pensacola for a season. Not even a full season. They let me go with 2 games left to go. They hired a guy the next season. And I don't know why I got let go. Like it's one of 2 jobs that I've been fired from. One was at my first radio station. They let me go to bring back a radio host who had been to jail and come out off a felony charge. That was pretty sweet. And then I got let go from the Ice Flyers as their in-arena host. Never got an answer. Hired a dude the next year that came up. And and for the record, I still love the Ice Flyers. I went the first game the next season, and they hired a guy who came up, and they put him on the screen for the first time. And the in-arena host job, of course, is to get the crowd hype, right? Get everybody excited about being there. And they put him up on the screen, and he goes, what was the guy's name? I forgot his name. He had a screen name, and he goes on. First game of the year. Stadium is absolutely full, roaring with people looking for a good time. They put him on the air just to do like a, hey, everybody, welcome to the first game. And he's like, everybody, welcome out to Pensacola. It's the first game of the year. We hope you guys are excited. Let's get back to the ice.
So they went the opposite of you.
Completely.
Wait.
Nope, they did the very thinkable, Mark.
Wait.
They
Why?
did the very thinkable.
You're not here. Why are you doing a promo about being
You're
here?
not an NFL guy.
Gator Bowl. Well, he's really not here. Coming in hard because that's how we do it.
I can't headbang like I used to, man. I used to be able to headbang good. Now it's like, oh, I'm dizzy and
I was gonna say,
got a headache.
Feel
Now
something
my neck
rattling
is
around in there?
sprained. Oh, that's a bad idea.
Got to work that stuff out, dude.
Ah. Stretch, Rob. You're old. I'm staring down the barrel at. You know what I realized the other day? February, I'll turn 38, and that's basically 40. I got to accomplish something with my life.
I have to tell you that it is basically 40. That was a long time ago for me, and you're right. It is basically 40.
Anyway, not to go down the path of existentialism. Hey, let me ask you a question because I saw this. The Las Vegas Bowl, Oregon State taking on Florida in that one. It ends with a final score of 30-3. The Beavs knocked the Gators. I mean, just knock them out. It wasn't even close.
Wow, at least they scored 3, Rob.
Yeah, let's talk about that, shall we? Florida trailing 30-3 in this game after Jack Miller III steps in for Anthony Richardson, who opted out of the bowl game to prepare himself for the NFL draft. I think in part because the first round of fantasy drafts had Anthony Richardson, who has all the talent to be an NFL quarterback, but none of the positive mentality declared for the draft. I think in part because there were a handful of mocks that came out saying that Anthony Richardson might end up being a top 15, top 20 draft pick because of how desperate teams are to try to get lucky and hit on a QB that nobody thinks is going to be the guy and turns out to be the guy. Anyway, Jack Miller III comes out, goes 13 of 22, 180, no touches, no picks. Florida rushes for an incredible 39 yards in this game. On the flip side, Oregon State did everything right. A $189 through the air, 164 on the ground, and that includes the -12 due to -14 due to sacks that were taken by the Beavers. But the conversation of this game ended up circling around Billy Napier. And you had better believe that I am looking forward to the next time I get to hear Mark Ryan talk on the air, because I'm curious as to his thoughts as a Gator fan, not even in a I'm interested to see how aggravated he was, though I sometimes am. I genuinely want to know how Mark Ryan feels about this, right? And here's why.
Wait. So we don't know? I mean, because we usually know everything that he feels about everything, including, Clemson and Carolina and all that. Do we not know?
I don't.
Is he because he's on vacation? Is he actually taking a break?
I don't know.
Good for him. I'm sure it's a coincidence that Florida got destroyed and now he's silent. Complete coincidence. Enjoy your vacation, dude. You deserve it.
I want to know this. So very late in the game, right? We're talking very late in the game. Last 30-ish seconds of the game. The Florida Gators are trailing 30-0. There are, I don't know, they ate up a 5-minute drive. There's some minute left in the game, less than a minute left in the game. Florida has on the line a streak of some 230 games where they have not been shut out. And in order to, I assume, protect that, instead of taking a crack at the end zone, Billy Napier decides to kick the field goal to protect the shutout streak. They do not get shut out. They put 3 up. They lose by 30-3. And people have been all over Billy Napier. Oh, it's gutless, right? Go for the end zone. Go for a TD. Earn some points. I don't know. I don't really have that big of a problem with it, right? Like it's I don't know if you know this, but scoring 27 points in less than a minute is practically impossible, right? Practically impossible.
Not completely impossible, depending on, the circumstances and if it's Patrick Mahomes or not.
Right. Practically impossible. And it turns out Patrick Mahomes ain't walking through that door. In a number of years, depending on how long this shutout-free streak goes for the Gators, nobody is going to say the shutout streak for the Florida Gators is 270 games long, except for that Las Vegas Bowl back in 2022 when Billy Napier kicked the field goal. I don't really care.
See, here's what it is. It wanted to give the fans something. So when you got destroyed, but our streak's still going on.
It's 423, not 234.
Wow, that's that means a whole lot more.
423 game consecutive scoring streak where they have not been shut out. I don't care. I don't care. It's whatever to me, But I saw, and here's why I bring it up. Because I wonder if Billy Napier getting absolutely roasted by his own fan base right now for being gutless, right? He is getting toe up from the flow up by Gator fans. I wonder what that does to a head coach, right? First-year head coach comes in, does not have an NFL draft pick, not a good one, but an NFL draft pick at quarterback, is missing a handful of players who have opted out. I don't wonder, honestly, if Billy Napier is not looking at this and going, the hell did I do taking this job? What am I doing?
Well, you've already written the show for somebody if they were on. It's all a transfer portal and people opting out. If they were more loyal to the team, there's no way they would have got a beat down like what they got. But you know what? They weren't. They weren't loyal to that school. They decided that the NFL was better or elsewhere was better, and they got their butts whipped. But you know what? That streak is still going. So you got that. You got that going into the new year. Good for you.
Good for you. I don't know. I guess I got nothing. I really don't. I don't know that. I don't think it's gutless. I think he was very much just trying to protect a streak that, could you imagine the response? A 423 game shutout free streak comes to an end at your hands after the year that you just had. Would he have looked and gone, okay, am I a bigger villain for getting that streak defeated, or am I a bigger villain for being gutless and not going for a TD? And I think he played that the best he could.
Maybe, I don't know this, maybe the kicker's a senior or getting ready to go into the NFL, and he wanted to give him one last kick to showcase his talents for prospective NFL teams. Maybe that's
nothing.
what it was. He was helping his guy out.
The point that I'm making here is that this is something that everybody on social media took a real hardline stance on. And maybe this is me being bad at my job, Alonzo. I could not have cared less.
I was more happy about the end score for personal reasons. I don't know why.
I could not have cared less that a 6-6 football team decided to kick a field goal instead of take a Hail Mary to lose by 27 instead of 23. Couldn't care less. Let me get Kev. My man Kevin's up in here. Wants to talk a little Buffalo. This show, the phone calls entirely belong to you guys. I don't care what you want to talk about. You're welcome on the show today. Kev wants to talk Josh Allen. What's up, Kevin?
Man, you just robbed talk. I was going to say Josh Allen.
Say it as many times as you want. Josh Allen got the dub in the snow game of the year. Go ahead, Kev. It's all yours.
How about that 2-point conversion? How about that?
Oh, that was it's a gutsy play from Josh Allen. I thought he got in live. He did. It ended up, and it's a good thing he did though, because that momentum would have been a huge shift if he did not.
What about the snowballs being third at the thing too?
So for y'all that didn't see it,
Are you really laughing at that? Because I mean, come on. I mean, you want to throw it at each other in the stands. Don't throw it on the field. We don't want a Cleveland Cincinnati incident with ice balls.
You ready for me to turn everybody against me? For the record, one more reason that games in deep snow suck. Like here's where it comes down, Kev. I saw Keegan, another P1, tweet out during that game Saturday night. He's like, I don't care what Rob Brown says. Games in the snow will always be fun. And my takeaway was, y'all think it's fun because of everything except the football game. The fans throwing snowballs, the players doing snow angels on the field. Everything that everybody is talking about, how amazing of an entertaining game that was, everything was because of everything except the football game, Kev.
How about a 70,000 karaoke if Dean Crosby's Let It Snow?
I mean, like I said.
That was really cool. That was. And I enjoyed the snowmen. They were artfully done. The little snowmen.
Everything that you guys are talking and celebrating about this game has nothing to do with the game.
Oh, no. I love the game. Because I hate the Patriots. I hate the Cowboys. Chiefs got lucky. Thank God Cowboys lost. Thank God Patriots lost. How about those?
About the Patriots just falling apart. I'll tell you what.
Houston is mighty. There's nothing. There's nothing lucky about winning an overtime game against Houston.
The mighty one-win Texans. Lovie Smith was coming for you. Kev, good to hear from you, big dog. Listen, sincerely, appreciate you being part of the Armada. Appreciate you being on the stream with us every day. Which, by the way, is up at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show on YouTube and Twitch. Let's do this. Let's take a break. Let's come back. I want to talk about the end of that Patriots-Raiders game, not just because of how ridiculous the game was, but I've got the response from Bill Belichick, and it's exactly what you think it is. I'll play that for you next on The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Final statement.
Sunday in Charlotte, dropping them 5-9 with the loss. Sam Darnold threw for 225 yards, the touchdown to DJ Moore, but the Panthers were held to just 3 fourth-quarter field goals after that. They managed just 209 total yards with only 21 on the ground. Darnold was sacked 4 times. The Panthers are now in a 3-way tie for second place in the NFC South. All of them one game behind Tampa Bay in the division.
Saints going to win the whole thing. They absolutely are. This going and no one's going to see it coming. They're just going to come back and win the whole thing.
Dude, we tried to boat the bet against Atlanta yesterday. Atlanta. 5-8 Atlanta.
I'm sure Atlanta was thinking the same thing about why are we losing to the Saints?
Yeah, they should have. We suck.
Still trying to figure out why you choose Andy Dalton over Taysom Hill, but you know, I know you lose him everywhere else if he's, but still.
Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com. Stop by their stores in downtown Greer and on Verde Boulevard in Greenville.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Come on, te llamas.
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers.
You know, I told myself I was going to bust you out for not singing O Tannenbaum because I'm very disappointed in you. You just looked at it and it's like, I'm not even going to give it a shot.
I started it.
If you're looking around like, how are these guys getting these words right? The only person I know who got the words right is Cameron because he took a bunch of German in high school and college. That's the only one.
I started looking at it. We got a hot minute in. And I was like, I'll tell you what it honestly was. It was it was towards the beginning, a first line that I thought a word was going to be pronounced this way, and then you guys threw like a high E on the end of it, and I'm like,
the only reason why is because I heard Cameron do it.
See, you had more prep than me.
I heard him do it, and this was all about Chris. It wasn't about you. It was about
Well,
stuff.
then what you worried about me not singing?
Because
You got what you wanted.
because I wanted you to help, and it was actually funnier you not singing. Just like staring at it, like I am not doing this. One of the very few times I've seen you go, Nep, I'm
No.
not in. I'm not in. I tag out. I'll just watch everybody else.
I will do most dumb things on the radio for comedy's sake. I was like, nope, I got nothing.
I think we nailed it, but you know. I even went and told Chris, this is because of you. Do you know this song? No, but I bet I can sing it. It's like, yeah, we'll see.
Have at it.
And he did. Because he's Chris.
Oh.
So how much money would someone have to pay you to go see the Barbie movie?
Look, I'm not going to judge anybody who does. I'm not. But I have not had negative interest in a movie in a very long time. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of movies that I'm like, I don't have any interest in that. I'll put it this way. I've seen a lot of movies that I really have interest in because Courtney's like, hey, will you watch this with me? And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it for you. If Courtney asked me to go watch this movie, it will be the first one I ever go, no. Pick literally anything else. Let me grab clip 2 here, if you don't mind, Lonzo. I don't do a ton of post-game presser replays unless there's just something compelling about them, right? I'd rather just say, okay, in the post-game presser, so-and-so said this, and here's my reaction to it. But I'm going to give you this one. I'm going to start with clip 2. Final play, Patriots-Raiders. These are exactly the types of plays in the past that the New England Patriots have reached into your chest cavity and removed your heart with, right? These are exactly the types of plays that for years under the hoodie, Bill Belichick's teams have done something that scars you emotionally. This time, it got done to them.
Mac Hollins out on defense. He's all the way back. Stevenson is inside the 30, flips it back. Stanford band nowhere in sight. Uh-oh, it's picked off. Uh-oh, oh no. Unbelievable. Oh, wow. Incredible. Chandler Jones takes it in and wins the game for the Raiders. Have you ever seen an ending like that?
I've never seen anything like that. I have no idea why he was doing that. Oh, my goodness.
An unbelievable ending here in Las Vegas.
I thought I had seen it all, Kenny. What an ending. Unbelievable. Chandler Jones, former Patriot. What an exclamation point to end this game. Raiders 6-8. I think the stadium is still in shock the way we are. Like, they're happy, but they still can't believe what just happened.
Patriots fans in stunned disbelief on the final play. Looked like we were heading to overtime. Here's another look.
All right, you can cut it here.
Everyone is
I
back.
need the end of that. You got it. Jacoby Myers, after a lateral from Ramondre, tries to throw it back to Mac Jones because reasons. It ends up getting picked.
My favorite part about the replay, other than the fact that happened to the Patriots, was wow. You don't hear people say wow too much on the air anymore. So
mine was, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Chandler Jones, the former Patriot, picks off the lateral to Mac Jones, proceeds to stiff arm Mac Jones deep enough into the ground that he might actually become a fossil, and then takes it about 55 back to the house for the Raiders walk-off dub. The best part of this was not the play. It was not, oh my goodness. It was not, uh-oh. The best part of that was Bill Belichick in the postgame presser being asked about it over and over and over. Here is the hoodie and his response in the postgame presser. Listen to the enthusiasm.
Unfortunately here today we had too many, just collectively made too many mistakes and, gave up some big plays that were obviously the difference in the game. So, we just can't do that in this league, and it cost us. So, got to work to eliminate those, and continue to play the good football that we played. But we just had too many mistakes and too many bad plays to win. So that was obvious.
Willie, remember the Associated Press on that final play? I know it was a draw play. Was it instinctive on Ramondre, or was he given the green light to pitch it if he had an opening?
We made a mistake on, played it where a mistake on play.
Bill, over here on this side here on the block punt,
Yeah, so that was a mistake on the play.
And the snapper on it, snapping it too early.
It's a mistake on the play.
Bill, on the final play over here, I know you said there was a mistake. Jacoby took accountability for that, saying he knows better than to throw the ball back across the field. Was there any coaching point after you had called the draw to say if, the play's over, just fall down or go out of bounds?
Yeah. Well, obviously that would have been better, the result.
Was that said?
Yeah, look, we've talk about situational football. We talk about it every week. But we obviously got to do a better job playing situational football and not making critical mistakes in the game.
Wow.
Could he please get some better denture cream? Because every time, I hate that. It just pierces my soul. And this ain't no Belichick. It's not. These guys have been playing in the league a long time. They were dumb. That was just a dumb thing. It absolutely was. Do you blame Belichick for this? I did enjoy the reaction, but that's not his fault.
At this level of football, there are just some things that you expect players to know.
Right.
Right? Like, do I need if I have to, and for the record, I kind of get what that reporter was doing there, but also at the same time, I'm like, that's kind of a dumb question, right? Did you go out there and specifically say, hey, if this doesn't work, to just go down and go to overtime? It's like, no, because that's one of those things that that would be like if on the way to school, a teenager in his car got into a car accident and the parent shows up and the cop's like, hey, did you specifically tell your teenager not to rear end anybody else? No, I kind of didn't feel like that needed to be said. I kind of didn't feel like I need to tell you, don't hit other cars. Specifically, do not drive into other cars. There's just some things that you just know. And one of those things is you're not losing this game. The worst case scenario here, provided you don't turn the ball over on a fumble, and even if you do that far down the field, the most likely outcome is the Raiders get the ball on the fumble and then somebody tackles that guy and we're going to overtime anyway. I don't specifically feel like an NFL head coach needed to roll up to the player and go, hey, if anything goes wrong, just go to the ground. You should know that. This is entirely on Jacoby. And I feel bad for Jacoby, but at the same time, I kind of don't, right? Like, you could tell that it was busting him up. They talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I should know better. I screwed up. And I felt bad for the kid. But at the same time, I'm like, come on, dude. I felt bad for him the way I feel bad for, somebody texting and driving, getting to a car accident, and they don't have a car anymore. You're like, I feel bad for that aspect of it. But at the same time, it's kind of your fault. It's kind of on you, guy. Right? Hoodie sounded like when he was answering that question, he had his phone in front of him and he had just Googled images of Tom Brady in a Patriots jersey, just staring at it like, yeah, we made some mistakes. He had all the energy of a drunk dude looking through pictures of him and his ex that left him on his phone late at night. It's like too late to call her. He knows better than to send the "you up" text, but he's looking through all the pictures and videos of him and his ex-girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, I made some mistakes.
See, what I heard is, you know what? It's time to retire. I've done enough for this game. I'm old. This ain't my fault. These people are saying it's my fault. I'm out. I'm rich. I don't need to do this anymore.
That was the gas of a guy who is completely unsatisfied with his new girlfriend. She's sleeping on the couch because they got in a fight. He's in the bed scrolling through his ex's Facebook profile with her and her happy new boyfriend going, I made some mistakes, and I probably shouldn't have texted that other girl. And anyway, we got to take a break, and we'll be back after this on the Rob Brown Show. And the fan upstate.
Yeah, Kevin, the problem with Kansas City has been the problem that's been a problem forever. Unfortunately, it's defense. 2 weeks in a row was some really bad defense. James grabbed the soccer ball. Ah, talking about basketball.
Within 5 years, the first collegiate basketball game will be played, and James Naismith went on to be the first coach at the University of Kentucky. The Jayhawks.
Yo, I don't know how this pod is going to sound, but apparently Steve Austin and The Undertaker did a podcast together in which they drink and critique red wine.
Okay, well, Undertaker's been on Broken Skull a couple times, so I bet it's awesome.
Not critiquing red wine like, oh, this tastes good. Steve Austin is swirling the wine. He's talking about the legs of the wine, which is when you swirl it around, how long it takes to slowly fall down the glass on the outside.
Wait, what? Wine's got legs?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. He said, look at the legs, the way it walks down the glass, something about the way it's supposed to affect the taste buds. I'm like, who gives a flying bleep about the legs? I just want to know what it tastes like when I taste it. Okay, we got to do the smell test to it. Smells good. Got a good aroma to it. Undertaker says it's got a nice bouquet. Steve says that is indeed a very tasty beverage. And that's where the clip walks out.
So are you...
Who gives a flying bleep about the name?
Are you upset that The Undertaker is having
what
fun?
I want is to drink. I want to drink with Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? And I want to slam beers together like Pat McAfee did. It's like a lifetime goal of mine. But now I want to drink with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I want to drink like rum spritzers and white wines and boat drinks. I want to drink fancy drinks with Steve Austin and get his critique on them.
No, Kevin, he's not. He's anti-Ken. That's what it is. He's definitely anti-Ken. I tried to take it away from that analogy, but he wouldn't let me. Guess you go with what you know. On his side, ex-girlfriend. On my side, retirement. That's why we went. That's why we each went the way we went.
But everybody who has ever done that knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Make your life easier and go hands-free with Skechers' new hands-free slip-in footwear. You'll never have to struggle putting on your shoes again.
Get hands-free slip-ins for the whole family at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
I've always kind of styled it from the perspective of this show is designed to be what it's like when you're sitting down late afternoon at the bar on a bar stool, drinking a beer and just laughing about sports, right? You might sometimes get into a deep sports discussion about bets or positions.
So I saw you were playing High on Life. What do you think about it?
I enjoy it. It's just goofy, right? It's just funny.
That's the thing. The language is it gets really raunchy to the point where I'm like, why am I still playing this? This bothers me, but the game itself,
it's hilarious.
The game itself is so much fun. The concept that I just keep playing. I have like 4 or 5 guns now. I played a ton out of it.
I just got the one that you can suck the enemy in and then hit him with a shotgun blast. And what I was worried about was like, I don't want to switch away from the original gun.
See,
but they have him talking to you from your inventory, which is great.
I keep forgetting that I can bring the enemy in.
Yeah.
I mean, once you get so many guns, you find your favorites, and it's. I do like him though. I like that gun because he's cool and he's laid back, and if you don't use him for a while, you bring him back. Oh, you do like me. I was worried. But I'm doing the thing that I have to do sometimes. I get to a boss and I can't get past, and I have to put it away for a while and then come back. think I'm more upset that I get like a sliver away from beating the thing. It's like, forget this. I'll come back to it.
My favorite one was when I went into the mine and they had the bureaucracy simulator where you're sorting paperwork. Fell out laughing at that. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo on the other side of the glass, metaphorically speaking, of course. Great to have you guys. I am here today and tomorrow, and then starting Wednesday, I'm off until the first Tuesday of the new year. So if you want in, today and tomorrow are your times to shine. I will also tell you that tomorrow will predominantly be college football playoff talk. We'll be breaking down at length the Ohio State-Georgia game. We'll be breaking down at length the TCU-Michigan game, giving you our official picks and whatnot, because tomorrow will be the last time that I talk to you, those of you that are radio listeners only, of course, the last time that I will speak with you until after the first and only round of the playoffs before we get to the Natty. So if you want to get in and discuss those games, tomorrow will be your day. Everything else, it is today. 844-FAN phone. 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with the word FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the radio for you. Your chance to become a bona fide star like Lonzo. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Texter says you just hate to see the Patriots lose that way, but also you love to see the Patriots lose that way. The Patriots ripped out so many hearts for a decade and a half that I don't think anybody celebrates more seeing them lose a game. Except for perhaps one team. Can I grab real quick clip number 3, if you don't mind, Lonzo? Because this, the Dallas Cowboys at the Jacksonville Jaguars, this game got talked about quite a bit as well for a couple of reasons. Number one, Trevor Lawrence looked like a real boy. Trevor Lawrence looked like a real QB in this one. He had himself a day. How about 318 passing yards, 4 touchdowns for TL16? But the play that everybody talked about was this one at the very end in overtime.
3rd and 4. Blitz coming. Prescott throws backwards and intercepted. Jenkins has another one. Racing down the sidelines. Rayshon Jenkins is going to win it.
It is absolute madness here in Jacksonville. Wow. The ball gets deflected, clearly caught by Rayshon Jenkins, who has had potentially the best game of his entire career. 2 interceptions, 18 tackles, a walk-off touchdown. You see the ball deflect right off Noah Brown. Picks it up clean out of the air. Well, we just said, did Jacksonville have one more play in them on defense? And boy, did they ever.
The Jacksonville Jaguars knock off the Dallas Cowboys 34-40 in overtime, courtesy of the Rayshawn Jenkins pick six. It did not come. That is an NF or an NHF. It's not his fault. A lot of people put that on Dak. It was a low throw, but it was a low throw to a running back, and the only spot he could catch it, it came off the hands of the RB. Jenkins made a redonk play to grab it up off the turf before it hit the turf and take it back to the house for the walk-off six.
That sounded like a lot of people there. I thought people didn't go to those games there.
Oh, there was a lot of Cowboy fans there.
Were there? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It was 55-45 Jags fans. There's a lot of Cowboys fans in that house. That L is not on Dak, but that dub should go to TL16. I told y'all. You can say what you want to say. You can disagree with me all you want. Trevor Lawrence is a different dude since the worst head coach in NFL history got booted last year.
There it is. Okay, so I was counting, and you know I wasn't going to count the clip. So if you that's what 1 minute. You don't count the clip before Urban was mentioned. I get why you're doing it.
Because I'm right.
But here's one way to stop people from being forever linked. Stop mentioning the other person when they're. Can you just talk about him and not talk about? I'm not defending Urban Meyer, but can you just talk about Trevor Lawrence and not talk about Urban Meyer? I think you can.
No, you
I think
can't.
you can pretend like that never happened.
I'm not
You
going
can do
to.
that. You can
Why
do
would
that.
I do that? Why would I do that? When all last year, people were putting Sunshine on blast for being overhyped, for being overrated, for not being the dude that he showed yesterday he can be. And I told you then, when you paired him up with the worst coach in the history of the National Football League, it was going to stunt his development. And when you bring in a coach who knows how to run an offense, he's going to look that much better. And now all of a sudden, the Jags are 6-8. The Jags are good enough they would be in first place of the NFC South.
Yeah, that's not really saying a whole lot, though.
It's not, but it's saying something.
They'd be tied.
He's good enough to be a division leader. All right.
Is he? I mean,
is.
because there's still. I mean, I guess if they won the rest of their games, they might sneak into a wild card, which would be amazing.
Could win the AFC South right now. It is also a dumpster fire, and they would need some help because the Tennessee Titans just can't figure out
what's
how
going
to
on with
stop
them. They're
bleeping
just-
the bed.
Yeah, you're right. Tennessee's been leading for a while without winning a game.
The NFC and AFC Souths are both just horrifyingly bad. All right. The Titans are 7-7.
Wait a minute. I thought it just means more here, like in the South.
The South, very good at college football, very bad at NFL football. Granted, Tennessee, I mean,
some people consider, if you live in Ohio,
Tennessee's the South.
Tennessee is the South. Thank you.
I think Tennessee considers Tennessee the South.
I think they do too.
Regardless of what you consider them. Because Indianapolis ain't the South. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, ladies and gentlemen, are a game out of the division right now. And the Titans, on the other hand, are absolutely boating the bed right now. The Titans have lost 4 in a row. The Bengals, the Eagles, the Jags, and yesterday, the Chargers.
It's Vrabel's just getting ready to go to Ohio State when Ryan Day gets let go. That's all. So he's just coasting right now.
Ryan Tannehill, 15 of 22, $165 and a pick. They went to Malik. Malik went 3 of 4 for 20 yards in relief duty at the end of that game. And I can't imagine at some point Malik's not going to get a start. But Derrick Henry, 21 for. If you got Derrick Henry going 21-104, averaging 5 a carry, and you can't win, I don't know what the hell to say to you.
I know it's going to make some people mad, but Dallas is overrated, man. They just are. They nearly lost to Houston. Yeah, I know Kansas City nearly lost to Houston also. They nearly lost to Houston. I know. Hey, Kansas City needs to do something on defense. If they don't, they're not going to make it very far in the playoffs. But Dallas is – they're always built up to be something that they haven't been in forever.
Look, I'm not sitting here trying to argue the Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl competitor. In fact, I got into it yesterday with my boy Chris, a member of the Riot, big Dallas Cowboys fan. I texted him and I said, are you ready for this? Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South without getting to 500. And then they're going to beat the Cowboys in round 1 of the playoffs. Tom Brady is going to beat Dallas in round 1 just to keep a narrative going on both sides of that football. Dallas chokes, and Brady does Brady stuff when you stop expecting him to. Every time. All I'm saying here is I am never going to unlink Herb with stunting the growth of TL16 in his money. This is far. I said this at the beginning of the year. This is not a new narrative from Rob Brown. This is TL16's rookie season to me. Trevor Lawrence is in his rookie year, and in his rookie year, he is taking a team. By the way, Travis Etienne, 19 carries, $103, 5.4 on the ground. The only problem that Travis Etienne has right now is a nasty case of the fumbles. If he can up that ball security, Travis Etienne's going to be good. But he can take a team with Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, get to 6-8, and be in a spot where a divisional championship is not just possible right now. A division championship is very, very possible. The Titans have the Texans, who have taken the Cowboys and the Chiefs to the wire in back-to-back weeks. Then they have the Cowboys, who now have a playoff spot locked up. They're playing for seeding now so that they can avoid Tom Brady in the first round. And then the Jags. Whereas the Jaguars, on the other hand, are on their way out the door, looking at the Jets, who melted down again because Robert Saleh decided that he wanted to hang on to 3 timeouts in a clutch game for no reason. The Texans and the Titans. The Jags can easily take 2. The Titans can easily drop 2. And that Jacksonville-Tennessee game at the end of the year might be for a divisional championship and a spot in the playoffs. I will forever link TL16's growth or lack thereof and the coming out party taking place later in the season. I will always link that back to Herb. I very much blame him. TL16 has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. He has arrived. Trevor Lawrence, 27 of 42, 318, 4 TDs. The dude has been good at this point. Numbers-wise, 6 games prior to Sunday. In the last 7 games, Trevor Lawrence has thrown for 1,362 through the air, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions until yesterday, and a 111.7 passer rating, and then beat the Dallas Cowboys. Unbelievable. While we're on it, ladies and gentlemen, if you have, the only thing I regret not coming on the air until today is that I think pretty much every joke about the Colts-Vikings game that could be made has been made. The Colts leading by 33 at the half, and then allow the Vikings to make the largest comeback in the history of the National Football League. 39-36, they win. How about the Detroit Lions, by the way? Carolina went from complete optimism last week, Lonzo, to they might not win another game. They will, because they play New Orleans.
You mean that New Orleans team who just beat Atlanta and is tied for second place?
Yeah.
That team?
Yeah, the team that beat the mighty Desmond Ridder in his first NFL start. Feeling real good about that. About the NFL South, the NFC South, pardon me, 1 game separation between all 4 teams. That'd be awesome if they were all like 11-4. Nope. Detroit, Jared Goff, 23 of 38, 252 and a touch. Knock off the New York Jets. Zach Wilson came back from his benching, 317, 2 touches and a pick. Say this real quick. And I think a texter said this earlier, so I want to give them credit if I can find it. If the Detroit Lions make the playoffs, and by the way, there's a very good chance they will. But if the Detroit Lions make the playoffs out of the NFC, Dan Campbell's your NFL coach of the year, right? Like if they make the playoffs. I mean, they're only 7-7. I don't want to pretend like the Lions are better than a 500 ball club. Chasing down, I mean, they won't chase down the Minnesota Vikings now at 11-3. But the Lions would be the best team in the NFC South, tied for second in the NFC West. The Lions are put it this way. Lonzo, if I'd have offered you 2-1 odds at the beginning of the year that the Lions would be 500 at the end of it, would you have taken it? Just 500.
I might have considered it because I thought they were playing really well last year.
I wouldn't have. I'd have said they probably ended. And by the way, they still may not get to 500.
I have a buddy who's a big Detroit fan, so I kind of keep an eye on him because of him. And I think Campbell has been kind of the talk for a little while. And if they would let him, give him enough time, maybe he turns it around, and it looks like he's got a shot at it.
Maybe. Again, let's not pretend they're any better than 7-7. But they have won some games that traditionally the Detroit Lions do not win. Ladies and gentlemen, let's run to a break. When we come back here in mere moments, Argentina knocks off France in your World Cup championship on Sunday morning. And I think this might be the only sport we can definitively say this in right now, with the exception of women's tennis. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT conversation has been put to bed, tucked in, and is asleep. It's Messi. Make some arguments for that and break down that World Cup final when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
That empty parking lot.
I know. Isn't it sad but also exciting?
For you.
All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, dudes and dudettes.
It looks like it's just me, you, and Tim here.
Yes, Steven. Di Maria. We're all talking Messi today, but Angel Di Maria was spectacular. And I mean, spectacular in that game. The PK he drew early that Messi scored on was an incredible move against Dembele. The goal he scored was great. And every touch down the left hand, every time Di Maria got the ball down the left-hand side, I held my breath. The dude was just spectacular. Spot on observation, Steven.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking.
Went to buy ingredients for lasagna yesterday for Christmas. Cheese is expensive, man. No, we got a big bag of mozzarella, cost $17. I'm like, me and Lisa looked at each other, was like, yeah, let's do it. Because I mean, we only make lasagna once a year.
Yeah. You need to get in touch with my friends at Allen Tate because they believe there is yet a third side to this story. It's your side. And that's where Allen Tate wants to be. They want to be on your side as your trusted real estate advisor throughout your entire home ownership journey. It does not matter whether you are looking to find the perfect house for you and your family, whether you're in a house and you need to upgrade or you just want to sell it to make a little cash. Allen Tate is there working on behalf of you. And you want them in your corner, trust me. They've got 8 local offices right here in the upstate, and they are ready to help you now, regardless of what side you're on. Allen Tate's on your side. Get in touch with them at allentate.com, online at allentate.com.
Kevin Harlan for Monday Night Football on Black and White. Join me and Ross Tucker when the Green Bay Packers take on the Los Angeles Rams at Lambeau. Ross Tucker favorite the Rams as a replacement for the injured Matthew Stafford and led the Rams to an impressive and dramatic win over the Raiders. Now they face Aaron Rodgers and the rested Packers at Lambeau on Monday Night Football. Get ready for the game with more details and preview at WestwoodOneSports.com.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think they call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally balanced systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile.
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost to get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available. Additional
So, on High on Life, what do you think's going to happen to the sister?
I don't know.
I'm a little worried about
I don't know. I keep getting these hilarious texts from her.
Our boyfriend?
Yeah. The first one cracked me up when she's like, oh, so you can go run off and pretend to be a bounty hunter, but I can't grab coffee with one alien?
So have you killed Gene or did you leave him on the couch?
Oh, I absolutely stabbed him, but it does not kill him. Spoiler alert.
Because I didn't do it. Every once in a while, just take some time to stand in the living room and watch some of what he's watching. Dude,
I watched
don't
the
know.
first 17 minutes of Tara in the T-Rex or whatever it was, and I was so engaged by it that when it ended and it went to the break, I went and watched the rest of the movie on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, there's a really bad one later on with a clown on a swing, and it just and she's in there's this girl in the shower, and he keeps turning the heat up, and then she gets it's such a bad B movie, and I just watching it going like, why am I watching this? This is.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you. Let's in fact, I'm not even going to make this very clear. I am instead going to allow Taylor Twellman to make this very clear. Let me get clip number 1, if you don't mind, please, though. The debate.
I hope. Because one side of the computer just froze, so we'll see.
We'll see. When we talk basketball and we have the conversation about the GOAT, you get the majority falling into the camp that it's either MJ, Kobe, or LeBron. You get a couple other folks that say that Magic should be in that conversation, that Kareem should be in that conversation. When it comes to the National Football League, you get some camps. You got the Brady camp, you got the Montana camp, you got the Rice camp. When it comes to baseball, there's a million people that have different opinions on who the greatest baseball player of all time is. There are two sports, in my opinion, that the debate is settled over who is the GOAT. There's no more debate. It's over. And women's tennis is one. Serena is the best to ever do it. Okay? The best to ever do it. Soccer is now settled. And Taylor Twellman, I like Taylor Twellman. I'm one of few in the soccer community that does. I like Twellman because while he does offer a lot of opinions that I don't agree with, he actually brings a good conversation about it to the table, as opposed to issuing a hot take with precisely zero reasoning. Taylor Twellman makes some good points, but we don't agree on a lot. He is in that camp of dudes that I'm like, okay, if me and this guy agree on something, it means it's, to me, a pretty good argument. Taylor Twellman, after the World Cup final, when Leo Messi scored a ridiculous couple of goals, a PK early and a follow-up in the extra period time, we both agreed that this debate is over. Here was Taylor Twellman's take at the end of that game Sunday.
And the comparison is not against Ronaldo, Scott. This is where everyone gets it wrong. It's against Diego Maradona. That's the comparison. And that's the one that ends today. There is no longer the comparison. I get what he did for Argentina, and I get that he was a certain flavor for some fans. But Messi's done football. He's done soccer the perfect way, the best way, and he just put a cap right on top of it, and he can literally walk out of there and say, I'm the greatest to ever do it.
Yep. The conversation is over. Lionel Messi is the GOAT. Now, soccer's kind of interesting because we talk about awards. We talk about championships. We talk about World Cup championships, Premier League championships, Champions League championships, MLS championships. And it's really kind of unfair in some ways because the majority of the awards that Leo Messi has been chasing, specifically the World Cup championship, are team championships, right? It is part of the reason that I've said in the past that number of championships won is not, to me, a solid reflection on the player that is being discussed, right? It's not always a solid reflection. And it's not always a solid reflection because you've got to have a great team around you in order to win those titles. Lionel Messi's Argentina team was 100% carried by Lionel Messi. Now, there are other guys. Yesterday, Angel Di Maria for Argentina, who was playing the left forward position, had the game of his life, right? Game of his life. Opening goal scored when he was out wide flanking left, got Dembele to come out there and cover him, made one of the nastiest little step overs that I've ever seen, got inside of Dembele, forced the French defense to collapse. They fouled him. Messi gets sent to the spot to take the PK, and he just rolls it in. Staggers long enough to make Lloris make a commitment to the right, rolled it to his right. He rolled it to his right, did Lionel Messi, and he scores. You come later on in that match, there's a spectacular touch from Leo Messi, forces it down the field. It ends up getting crossed across the keeper. Di Maria was there in what could have been a moment that was too big for a player. And what's he do? Puts the exact right touch on it to drive it under Lloris, outstretched to his right, crosses it back in front of him, puts it lower right 90. Argentina's up 2. Then the guy who on planet Earth has the best chance to unseat Leo Messi from the GOAT conversation, Kylian Mbappe. France draws a foul on the left side of the box. Mbappe steps up and hits a laser on a PK to make it 2-1. 90 seconds later, Kylian Mbappe scores what I genuinely believe was the goal of the World Cup. And there were some great ones. But Mbappe volleys a ball out of the air, falling backwards into his left, rolls over to the right, knocks it out of the air on a fadeaway one-touch, sends it across face, scores again. All of a sudden, with 80 minutes played, a game that 45 minutes ago, hell, that 3 minutes ago, the majority of us thought was Argentina's, right? It's over. Everything is done except the trophy presentation. Now, all of a sudden, it's tied up. Now, all of a sudden, it's 2-2, and we're near the end of the game. So we get to that 90th minute. We take it to extra time, all square. We have a phenomenal opening 18 minutes of stoppage time, but nothing happens. Had a couple of big saves. By the way, Leo Messi, closing out regular time, hit a laser from the top of the box that as soon as he uncorked it, I'm like, this is it. This is fairy tale stuff. That thing is going to go through the back of the net, through the bleachers, and not stop rolling for a couple of countries over. But Lloris laid out and made a spectacular save. Just able to get it up over the crossbar. I thought Leo Messi has just enshrined himself, not just in history as the GOAT, but has just knocked through the goal of his career to see the World Cup win. Argentina up 3-2, but instead, in the 118th minute, just slightly later, France gets fouled in the box, and Kylian Mbappe steps up to seal the hat trick by converting the PK into the bottom left corner, and we go to PKs. To my man Joey B, credit to Joe, said Lloris is notoriously bad at PKs. Argentina's won. I was like, come on, man. And sure as heck they did. 4-2 on penalties to win. Now, let me start by saying that I have like one overtly American soccer take, and it is I absolutely hate ending a World Cup final in PKs. Okay? I just do. I think you should go to golden goal time. No more. Take the clock off the scoreboard. We are playing without stop until somebody scores and wins this game, and unlimited substitutions at that point, right? Sub on and off as many as you've got left on the bench. But it is what it is. That's the way the world wants to play it. Everybody plays by the same rules. That match, and I mean this, because I thought about it a lot yesterday. That game was over at 1 o'clock, just in time to roll. The whiplash I got, Lonzo, going from a top 3 sporting event that I have ever watched in my life to Saints Falcons. The whiplash of that nearly sent me to the ER. What a contrast. Anyway, I thought about that match the rest of the day. I thought about that match this morning because I didn't know exactly where I was going to put it, right? I think anybody who watched that match knows that they watched an all-timer, an instant classic. They watched a match that we, as soccer fans, are going to be talking about having watched probably for the rest of my life, certainly. That is a match that I will be talking about for 1,000 years. It was the best World Cup final of all time. Now, that's from somebody who has not watched every World Cup final, but I've watched every World Cup final since I was alive, and a handful of old ones where legends made their names, right? Where the Diego Maradonas of the world, the Pelés of their name, of their time made their names, dropped their names into the history books. This one is that for Leo Messi. Lionel Messi at 35 years old, which in soccer terms is ancient, went out there and didn't just have a great match yesterday. He won the semifinal for Argentina as well. He won the semifinal for Argentina over Croatia. We are going to be talking about Leo Messi, the GOAT, forever. And that match as his farewell to the World Cup is going to solidify that. That game, I was sitting yesterday evening. Lady friend wasn't feeling great, so I was sitting in the bro cave, watching NFL football, in a conversation with a bunch of the guys out of the riot, all soccer dudes. We were still talking about that game 8 or 9 hours after it was over. And I said, on the show, I'm going to talk about this match. It's one of the greatest matches I've ever watched. It was certainly the greatest soccer match I've ever watched. But I was trying to think, okay, like where does it rank in terms of the greatest sporting events I've ever watched? And I was able to come up with 2 that I rank next to it. USC versus Texas in the national championship game in the Rose Bowl. The Vince Young-Matt Leinart duel. And the Titans-Rams Super Bowl, which was what, 99? Those are the 2 matchups that I was able to say go on the list as greatest sporting events that I've ever watched. I think we got, especially if you're a soccer is boring, how can you enjoy a sport that can end in a 0-0 draw? I considered, and now I wish I would have. I didn't do it. I considered sending out a text about 20 minutes before that match kicked off yesterday to guys like Lonzo going, hey, if you're going to watch a game in this tournament, watch this one. But I thought, don't do it, and here's why. Because when you get games like that one, where you've got 2 of the highest scoring teams in the tournament, sometimes those games turn out to be incredibly ironic in that you'll get 2 high-scoring teams like Argentina and France who match up, and 2 teams that are averaging, 2.5, 3.5 goals per game will all of a sudden just forget how to score, or both of them knowing the other team is the second and third highest scoring teams in the tournament will decide, let's just sit back and play a bunch of defense, right? Let's just sit back, play a bunch of defense, make them come to us, and then counterattack. Both of those teams threw everything they had forward. I wish I would have sent the text to everybody in the group of Lonzos in my phone and went, if you're going to watch a game, if you think there's even the mildest bit of interest, watch this game. Because if you watch, in fact, I'm looking right now, not to read text from other shows, but they're talking about this match over on Vince's show, Lonzo.
Yeah, you read those texts all the time.
I know I do. I don't care.
Come on.
I don't care. I'm not sorry. This texter said this. I'm not really a soccer fan, but after watching some political talk shows yesterday, I decided to turn on the World Cup final between highly favored France and the Cinderella story Argentina. It was halftime, score Argentina 2, France 0. In the final half, France rallied to even things up. Vince, between the action and the huge energized crowd, I got totally mesmerized by the event, and in the end, Argentina triumphed. Glad I tuned in. That's from admitted non-soccer fan and non-sports talk radio listener texting a political show saying, dude, the energy of the crowd, the energy of the moment, the performance of Leo Messi, the performance of France down 2. By the way, 2-0, the most dangerous lead in sports is being down 2, right? Or being up 2, I should say. The most dangerous lead in sports is being up 2. Somebody asked me why on social media, because I tweeted that. I'm like, at the hockey game, at the Bits game, we hate when we're up 2. And I think the reason why is 2, if you're up 2, it means you scored 2 goals back-to-back without them scoring. It also shows you that scoring 2 in a limited amount of time is very possible, right? But sometimes what happens is it changes your tactics. It changes the way you attack the game, and it changes your mentality. You're like, we're up 2. We don't have to be so aggressive anymore. We've accomplished this. That's what happened. Argentina laid off just a little bit. Didn't really change the tactics, but changed their execution of them. France took advantage. All of a sudden, it's 2-2. But you had 4 goals in regulation. You had penalties, and you had absolute bangers from both sides. You had an early goal out of Leo Messi in extra time. That was, my heart rate. I don't wear my watch every day, but I was wearing my smartwatch yesterday, Lonzo, and it's got a heart monitor on it, right? And it records your heart rate throughout the day. So you can go back at the end of the day and you can say, okay, my heart spiked this. And usually during my day, you can see when I woke up going to work, you can see the spike when the show starts. You can see the come down till around 1. Then there's usually a second spike around 3:34, like when the girlfriend gets home and the second half of my day starts. And then it settles down around 8, 9. It'll spike again if I'm playing Call of Duty, whatever. My heart rate spiked at about 11:10 a.m. yesterday, and it stayed up until about 1:45 p.m., about an hour after that game ended. That game had everything. It had an over-the-top, ridiculous crowd. It had 2 countries that have an immense amount of pride playing for them. In fact, real quick, before we take a break, I know it's late, but I want to get to it. Let me play you the audio. This is Alejandro Moreno. No, scratch that. Let me go to clip 4A. Andres Cantor. When you guys hear that go, that call, that's Andres Cantor. He is a Buenos Aires, Argentina-born Argentinian who is now an American citizen and one of the loudest voices in U.S. soccer. Well, he got selected to call this game, and I want you to listen to the emotion in the voice of Andres Cantor as he calls the win for Argentina in PKs.
Va Montiel! Montiel! Goal! Argentina campeón! Argentina campeón del mundo! Argentina campeón del mundo! Argentina campeón del mundo! Argentina campeón del mundo! Argentina es campeón del mundo. Desde el cielo lo hizo Diego, lo hizo Cuchufo, lo hizo el Tata, lo hizo Luque, lo hicieron ustedes jugadores que se ganaron el cielo. Argentina campeón del mundo. Messi es campeón del mundo. No podía ser de otra manera sino sin sufrir. Argentina, la selección argentina de Lionel Scaloni es campeón del mundo. Argentina campeón del mundo, dice Manolo.
A stadium full of people who felt like that. Goosebumps listening to that. Now, a stadium full of people who felt like that and who felt the exact opposite of that. Surrounding that drama that played out on the field. That was the greatest sporting event that I have ever watched. And one thing the NFL can learn from it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Alonzo and you, it's the Fan Upstate.
Steelers defeated the Carolina Panthers 24-16 in Charlotte. The Panthers dropping to 5-9, now in a three-way tie for second place in the NFC South. All three of those teams one game behind Tampa Bay in the division. Sam Darnold, 225 yards passing and a touchdown to DJ Moore. Three fourth-quarter field goals. The Steelers with 3 rushing touchdowns in the win. College basketball, Clemson heading to Atlanta Wednesday to take on Georgia Tech. The Tigers are 9-3 after Saturday's victory against Richmond, winning 5 of their last 6 games.
Chemtrails are still on. Hey.
At home against Western Kentucky.
For Argentina! Vamos!
64-56. They're now 5-6. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your sports flash on The Fan Upstate.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive.
I don't know why I just left the room up, but I did.
The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax experts put together a highly paid and little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of items for our planet. Avoid giving useless knickknacks this holiday season and look for durable items that will last for years. When we
What's fraudulent?
it becomes a million things for our planet.
I'm just eating my lunch off camera.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry.
The screen doesn't change it. Doesn't bring you back. Yeah. Blue on black.
Don't sing it if you can't play it. Can you play it?
No, God, no.
Have you tried?
No,
You ain't
sure,
tried
I
and you
haven't
don't
looked.
know.
That's true. I haven't looked at it.
I'm not talking about the solo, just the little bit of picking that he does leading into the chorus. I think he could do that. Lights still out on the other side?
Oh, yeah, it's creepy. I kind of thought you were exaggerating. I lit down the hallway. I'm like, I wouldn't walk down there right now. I can hear one person down there talking in their office.
It's probably Snowman.
It's Todd.
Is it Todd?
Todd's the
Yeah.
only one I can hear down there talking.
When the big boss is not here, they leave the lights out. No, Stephen, I did not. Because as Rob has described it, I don't want to see Fern Gully 2. Because there's no Robin Williams. Because he's no
I was
longer
going to
with
watch
us.
Fern Gully. I just watched Fern Gully. Christmas needs more double bass stomp, Lonzo. Just does.
It does.
Little halftime. I like it. The NFL, I hope, was watching that World Cup. There's not a lot of things, not a lot of NFL takes that the host of Offsides, Diesel, and I agree on. But this is one of them. I know that the Super Bowl is a highlight event for the NFL, and I know they want celebrities in attendance because while the majority of us don't care, the fact is when they can turn the cameras to the stands and show Justin Timberlake and Madonna taking in the game, there's a lot of people who get more interested in it because celebrity worship is real. But if you watch that match, despite the fact there were a lot of people in attendance who were just there to show off how much money they have, the majority of that stadium was filled up with people who had the emotion that Andres Cantor had, that we played for you in that last clip. That full-grown man going into tears over a sporting event emotion. Okay? Now, the NFL should change one thing about the Super Bowl. Just one thing. Leave the commercials, leave the halftime act, change one thing. How much better are Super Bowls, even on television, if half the stadium felt like the Argentina fans did and half the stadium felt like the France fans felt? How much better is it? Now, as I have mentioned in the past, when the Saints won the Super Bowl, I turned into a blathering idiot, right? Because that was a lot of years of pent-up frustration and energy and negative emotions about my football team, all released at the same time. It was also the knowledge that my dad got to see them win a Super Bowl when he was in the midst of his fight. There was a lot of that to me. I cried like a child when the Saints won the Super Bowl, right? When you turn the cameras into the stands at the Super Bowl and you see a bunch of people who aren't there because the emotion of that team winning a championship is what matters to them. What matters to them is just being a part of something that flaunts how much money they have. With Super Bowl tickets going for $4, $5, $6K to sit in the Gen Pop, kind of takes away from it a little bit. But the scenes of the Argentinian fans, both in that stadium and the pictures and video coming out of Buenos Aires, etc., was just remarkable. It was something else. Why would we take that away from our fans of Super Bowl teams, of college playoff teams, et cetera, et cetera? That was the best sporting event, certainly that I have seen in the last probably decade and a half. Ranks up there with 2 or 3 of the greatest football teams I've ever seen, probably better. Spectacular. All right, I got a messy take that I will read when we come back here in a minute. I want your thoughts as well. 1 hour left in this show, which is everything you want to talk about tomorrow, mostly college football playoffs, and then I'm done until 2023. Stick around. The Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It's the Fan Upstate.
You see that?
Yeah, be right back. Hang on there, fans.
Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson. MyAffordablePrices.com.
Travis Benson.
James said I visited the new Borderlands on Saturday. Pretty cool setup. It is a cool store, man.
It is. It really is. I mean, the old one was cool, but this one is so much bigger. I kind of want to go there and play something eventually. It's just being so busy, I haven't had a chance.
So I switched to Boost Mobile and got this free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone.
Why do you think you call it the Galaxy?
Maybe because the Samsung Galaxy A23 has a huge screen, and galaxies are huge gravitationally bound systems of stars rotating around a supermassive black hole.
And the phone is free?
When you switch to Boost Mobile,
Cool. You lost me at gravitationally bound.
Switch to Boost to get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power. Limited time offer while supplies last. New customers only. Excludes tax. One device offer per line. Only available on certain networks. 5G not available anywhere. Additional restrictions apply. See local Boost Mobile store for details.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks Vapor Rub. Vicks Vapor Rub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your, so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks Vapor Rub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks Vapor Rub. Vicks Vapor Rub. Cough relieving is believing.
The Rob Brown Show, now 19.
Kevin, hanging on the line. Welcome to the show, Kevin. Great to have you, buddy.
I know you did, man, but did you grow up running across the street to your friends all your life?
Kevin, I have never been accused of not being loud enough, if that's what you're saying.
Listen, everybody's telling me I'm loud. So now that you're on your new job, right, I get up and go to work, I'm getting myself together. So I get in 4 days, right? So I get on and you are automatically going ham at 9 I'm losing my mind. Like my dog, Rob is on there. So I want to get loud with you. I'm like, hey, go, get him, and go back. So, I love you to do it, man. And I know my daughter sitting there with you. I'm going to turn the volume down on this a little bit. But hey, man, and when you look at your picture on the face, like this is big smile we got going on. You was my favorite dude got to come out that loud. When you look at this thing come out your face, look at him. It's something big. We got my blood working right now.
Same great show, new time.
The Rob Brown Show.
Now 19 noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
All right, man, let's get going there.
Here we go.
Our future will be determined by what we do today on this field.
Why limit yourself to one team when there are 32 in the NFL? Play the game day, Sunday triple headers, Monday and Thursday night football. You get it all on one station.
We have to limit ourselves to one team. The arbiter has said so.
I was informed. Only allowed to have one team.
Locally for the Carolinas.
The Fan Upstate.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is remarkable to have you with us. Thank you very much for being a part of the show at 844-326-3663. Texter says, Rob, I watched the match and didn't want to miss a moment. One of, if not the best sporting events I've ever witnessed. That's fact. That's fact. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't give absolutes very often, right? Very rarely are you going to hear an absolute from one Rob Brown. But I'm going to issue you one absolute right now. And the absolute is this, great one. If you heard, hear, will hear a sports personality say that that game was anything less than remarkable, that that game was anything less than historic, you can go ahead and believe that that sports personality is doing it for the same reason that a toddler throws a tantrum. Nothing more than a desperate need for attention. That's it. If you didn't watch that game, then as far as I'm concerned, you're DQ'd from the conversation. Okay? If you did not watch that game and try to boat on that game for it being anything less than what it was, you're DQ'd from the conversation, in my opinion, anyway, simply because of the fact that you went into that game with a stupid bias. And the only reason you are saying what you are saying is because of the fact that you have a desperate need to hang on to that stupid bias. That's it. That's the only reason that you would say that that match was anything less than remarkable. That was, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, a perfect soccer matchup. That game was perfect, no matter what angle you look at it from. You had a bona fide superstar putting their name into the history books permanently. You had a team that was underappreciated, underrespected in Argentina. You had a team in France that was out there playing for not just to defend their championship and defend this house, but you had a team in France that had a remarkable level of national pride riding on that match. That game, ladies and gentlemen, was perfect. From wall to wall, whistle to whistle, that was the best that you could have asked for that game to be. It was one of the best 3 sporting events I have ever seen. It contained a not just legend, but as far as I am concerned, a certified GOAT who finished that debate in not one but 2 pressure-packed moments. And don't forget that the third goal in regulation for Argentina, the goal scored, the second goal scored by Di Maria, started with a spectacular touch by Leo Messi to read the defense, see a line, put the ball precisely on target that led to the secondary assist over to Di Maria to finish it. It had a stadium full of people who were caught up in a remarkable, because here's the thing, that game, how many games of that caliber have you gone into without a rooting interest? And again, I talked about this on Friday's show. I said, here's the thing. My heritage, not entirely, but largely, is French Cajun, right? I have got a rooting interest in France. If it's not the Americans, 95% of the time, allez les bleus. Let's go France. But as a soccer fan, what Lionel Messi is capable of, what Lionel Messi has done over the years, has been nothing short of remarkable. And so there was absolutely a part of me that wanted to see Lionel Messi do Lionel Messi things, because I knew that there was a better than zero chance that Lionel Messi was going to finish off the one thing that he has lacked in his career, which is a World Cup title, and would officially put that conversation to bed. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. Leo Messi went out there and made the world look at him. Not just look at him, but in my opinion, recognize him as the GOAT. If there was anything you wanted out of that match specifically, in my opinion, you got it. He finished off the conversation about the GOAT, both internationally and in terms of Argentinian football, by finally outdoing Diego Maradona. I think he settled that debate once and for all. I think that Leo Messi gave us not one, not two, but 3 different moments that were nothing short of spectacular, that we will be, at least soccer fans will be talking about for generations to come. There was nothing from that match that was short of historic. Look at it from any angle, any breakdown, however you want to. There was nothing in that match that wasn't pitch perfect. And if you saw anything except perfection from that game, I feel sorry for you. If you come across a personality today who tries to boat on that performance, you have come across someone who has a relentless need for attention and nothing else. Nothing else. And I genuinely feel sorry for that sports guy or gal. If you bump today across somebody who is trying to tell you that that wasn't one of the greatest sporting events that they have ever watched, I truly, genuinely, and entirely feel sorry for them. Because they have created in their head a ridiculous and impossible standard and expectation. That match was perfect in every way, shape, and conceivable form. Like I said, I don't know how I would refer to that match as anything other than one of, if not the single best sporting event that I have ever laid eyes on. It was perfect. Genuinely start to finish. I have already seen people who have been trying to poo-poo that game, that result, and I feel bad for them. Because their desire for, their need for attention, their please look at me, no matter what it takes, I need you to look at me attitude, it makes me sad for them. It truly does. So anyway, still looking for your thoughts. Want your input. What was your takeaway from that match? Because like I said, it was, as far as I'm concerned, nothing shy of absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. 844-326-3663, 844-FAN phone. Text said, Peacock had the game's broadcast in Spanish. The commentator was audibly crying while representing Argentina's champions. Magical commentary moment. As you could tell, he was totally invested in this. So good. That's exactly right. That was Andres Cantor. Cantor is the guy. Cantor is the guy that, by and large, made the goal call as famous as you all know it to be. And again, you can try all that you want to take away from that moment. You can try all that you want to take away from how big that moment was, how important that moment was, how great the call was, how great every aspect of that game was. But as far as I'm concerned, you will not be able to do it. Because that game is going to go down as legend. That game, those calls, that moment, all of it will go down as legend in sport. And there's not, so how many games in your life can you look back at, your team excluded, and go, that game is going to go down as a game that we are going to be talking about for forever? Because I can think of 2 or 3 tops. Games that when they ended, I went, well, that's a game we're going to be talking about for forever.
I wish I could chime in and go, yeah, because I know there are some.
Sure.
But then I forgot them because I'm getting older and I can't remember. I wish that was a joke.
I get it. I wish I could say that there were more.
By the way, I'm not chiming in because I didn't watch it. So
I wish I could say that there were more, but there have been maybe a couple. Like I said, I think that Texas SC, that national championship game, Vince Young v. Matt Leinart, I think I could probably include that game in the discussion of games that as I was watching, I knew that I was watching a game we'd be talking about for years and years to come. I think Texas SC makes that list for me. I think even as a young'un, I recognize that that Rams-Titans game, that Super Bowl, was going to go down. And really, in my opinion, that Rams game versus the Titans, that came down to a last second play that ended with the Titans failing to convert on the one, needed a score to win, walk-off. I think that game, if we're being honest with each other, was as much about the end of the game than it was about the game itself, right? I think that was as much about how it ended than it was, or more about how it ended than it necessarily was about the game itself. The game itself was a remarkable game. But that game goes down in lore because of how incredibly intense the last couple of plays was. That game yesterday, Argentina-France, that game had the intensity of that last second play for about 170 minutes of soccer. About 170 minutes you felt that way. Because even when Argentina was up 2-0, it was at that point that France started throwing numbers forward and genuinely attacking. And it just felt like, okay, any second now, this team is going to pop one through, and when and if they do, the entire complexity of the game changes. And that's exactly what happened. They converted the penalty into one. It was like, okay, now this is interesting. Now there's something to this game. And then 90 seconds later, Kylian Mbappe finds his second goal. And at that point, you're like, oh, not only is it didn't get intense because it was tied up, it got intense because in tying it up, France showed that they had found something. France showed that they had found something, and they had found something important. It was spectacular. Top 3 games I have ever watched, because it was all of those things, and it was in the biggest soccer game of the year. It was everything I needed it to be. All right, I'll quit with the World Cup talk. If you have any thoughts on it, 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. Let's do this. Let's try to stay on the clock for the end of the show. What do you think? That'll be a first. It's my New Year's resolution when we come back, Lonzo. Be better at staying on the clock. How long does that last?
An hour?
Maybe, if we're lucky. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a moment. Got a few more things to talk about from the National Football League. Got to get some college football in here. We haven't really hit on that yet today. It's probably because we're NFL guys. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Weird that it's showing up on mine, but it's not showing up on me. But I don't see the video up, so it's...
Center. Here's the upstate exclusive forecast on the Fan Upstate. Increasing highs here for today with high of 48, and for tonight, cloudy and near 33. On Tuesday, a slight chance for rain showers, cloudy high 43 degrees. Wednesday, a slight chance for rain, cloudy high 45. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 42.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin.
So I saw a mock draft for 2023 NFL draft that blew me away for a couple of reasons. Number one, number 10 potential overall pick Brian Brzee is playing for Clemson, and number 14 overall pick Miles Murphy is not. Go figure. But here's the real catch. They've got the Carolina Panthers with the number 11 overall pick selecting, wait for it, Anthony Richardson, quarterback of the 6-6 Florida Gators. Look, folks, he's got all the tools, but none of the intangibles. Zero of the intangibles. He's the anti-Stetson Bennett, who is exactly the reverse. None of the tangibles, all of the intangibles. Say it ain't so, Carolina. He's a Gator, and I'm telling you, you can do much better with your first-round pick. I'm Mark Ryan.
Offsides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
If you're like me, you're busy and on a budget. Do you remember a $10 lunch that wasn't a drive-thru? Well, the Warehouse in Midtown is your spot. Every Monday through Friday, 11 to 3, you pick from the $10 menu with items like Philly cheesesteaks, pizza, French dip paninis, chicken finger plates, salads, and more. And all come with house-made chips and a drink. It's a food hall with a huge selection of foods and a tap house with 26 taps and TVs galore for all your sports watching needs.
I DVR them, James. Sometimes I'll watch it live.
The 2023 Upstate Golf Cart is here, and just in time for Christmas. Order today for just $99 and get 9 rounds of golf at 9 premier Upstate courses. Step your loved one's stocking with rounds at Greer Golf, The Rock, Pebble Creek, Lisa Drive.
Especially on a night like tonight when I might be a little interested in the Monday Night Football game. See if that was just a one-off for Baker, or if he'll come out and play even better tonight.
Just for you. Then add the freshest ingredients and serve it hot. Now, lift it. You're doing it. It's a change of pizza lifestyle. Happy New You from the Mellow Mushroom on Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show at Greenville Pickens Speedway is a Christmas family tradition. Millions of incredible lights, carnival rides, petting zoo, rain or shine, 7 days a week, now through December 31st. UpstateLights.com.
You right over there, buddy?
Nope.
Nope.
By AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions.
Headaches get worse.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Monday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, have the Carolina Panthers done the unthinkable? Have they beaten the Steelers?
Still no.
Now tied for first place. We will soon see. Chris Phillips and the Spurs Up Show will be here for a preview of the game. Onsides and offsides and so much more, all on a Monday episode.
#1 for
I thought he wasn't here this week, or is that next week? Maybe he.
Texas said what happened to the stream on Facebook. We do not know. It seems to be a Facebook issue. So if you're trying to watch on Facebook, we don't know what happened is the answer. We just got notified that all 3 of our Facebook streams, both the Lonzo's page, mine, and to the Fan Upstate page, have gone dark. We have been working on it, but it does appear to be an issue internal to the Book of Face. So if that's how you watch the stream and you want to check in for the last 39 minutes of the show, then you can go to YouTube and search The Rob Brown Show, like and subscribe over there, or you can go to Twitch and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show, and you can watch it there as well. We do not know what's gone wrong with Facebook, but hopefully that will be fixed sooner rather than later. Hey, real quick while I'm thinking about it, on Saturday, there was a pretty rad event downtown at the Bon Secours Wellness Arena. The Greenville Winter Invitational featured not just 3 college basketball games. Anywhere you can go watch 3 college basketball games, gonna be a pretty good day. But not just 3 college basketball games, but the 3 biggest basketball programs from our state all playing under one roof. The day opened at 2 o'clock when South Carolina took on ECU. The day continued that afternoon when the Furman Paladins took to the floor and got a dub. And the day ended when Clemson took on Richmond. And they got a dub. The only of the 3 programs that ate an L at the Greenville Winter Invitational were the Gamecocks of South Carolina. They did make it kind of interesting late in that match on Gigi Jackson's birthday, but he was the only Gamecock that really impressed. In fact, I told, I went downtown because there was no way I wasn't going to go to that tournament or I guess exhibition. I went downtown to the Invitational, took the lady friend, took her cousin and his kids, all had a great time. But I told her, I'm like, I knew I wasn't going to be there for the last game. And it wasn't because I wanted to be or didn't want to see it. I did. But I had to get home and pick up my trombone to make a cameo appearance on the Upstate Pulse, which airs on Saturday from 7 to 9, except the next 2 because Lonzo's taking vacation. Anyway, did a cameo on the Upstate Pulse, had committed to Lonzo weeks and weeks ago about doing that. So I stayed for the first couple of games, had to bail out. And here's what I can tell you. First off, the event itself seemed like a massive success to me. There's a lot of folks that hit me up that watched it on ESPN Plus, and they're like, Rob, a lot of empty seats in the arena. Well, I have 2 responses. Number one, if you were watching it on ESPN Plus, why didn't you just buy a ticket and come down and watch it in person? But that's a nitpick. The only problem they had, and we saw this same problem at the SEC Women's Championship in 2020. When I just moved here, I came over for that. One of the problems you have is in selling an all-day ticket. And again, I think the Well did a great job. And I think the folks who ran that tournament did a great job. The problem is when you sell a ticket that allows you to come to all 3 games, you got a lot of Clemson fans whose game started at 7 p.m. that weren't going to be there at 2 o'clock to watch South Carolina. And you had a lot of Gamecocks that bought a ticket to watch their team play at 2 that weren't going to stick around till 7 to watch Clemson. And you got Furman fans who were going to buy a ticket to show up at, 3:30 to watch Furman play, but weren't necessarily going to stick around or come early to watch the Gamecocks and the Tigers. And so you had a lot of seats that are occupied for a game that if you don't know the context and you just tune it on for Clemson, you're going, that's a lot of empty chairs. And it's like, yeah, but there were butts in those chairs early. So I wouldn't be surprised down the road to see them move to, all right, 1 ticket to all 3 games cost you this much. If you buy 2 tickets, it's, you get a discount per seat. And if you buy tickets to all 3 games, each individual ticket costs less, but they sell every seat 3 times, 1 for each game. But we'll see. What I will say is this. South Carolina's team, I am not giving up on Lamont Paris already. I know a lot of Gamecocks want to give up on Lamont Paris. Don't do that. Okay? Don't. Because I heard, in fact, I think I even said at one point during that game, I think the first half score, if I recall correctly, was like ECU 34, South Carolina 18 or something. I mean, it was not good, like at all. I'm not giving up on the team, but I do have one little issue with it. And that little issue that I have with it is that there was, at least to me, there was such a lack of basic basketball intelligence demonstrated by South Carolina. Right? Such a basic lack of basketball intelligence. Now, I'm going to say this. South Carolina, if I recall correctly, top of my head, was like 7 of 27 from the field to start the game. They ended 21 of 55, good for 38% from the floor. 6 of 24 from deep. That's 25%. That's not good. Lamont Paris could have the best scheme in the world drawn up, but if your team's only going to hit at a 38% from the floor clip, you're going to lose a lot of basketball games. The problem I had was how many times I would see somebody create on the outside. I would see somebody drive to the inside of the three-point line, lift up a shot, ball hits iron. I would look at the paint, and there would be, if you were lucky, one Gamecock in there, right? In fact, at one point, I looked, and Hayden Brown, who I like a lot, by the way, kid is a hustle player, is Hayden Brown. And if I recall correctly, Hayden Brown is from right up the road in Greer. I think he played at Burns, if I recall correctly. Anyway, I looked up at one shot. Gigi Jackson lifted up about a 14-footer from the left-hand side of the floor. The ball hit iron, and Hayden Brown was the only player under the rack trying to rebound, right? I'm going to tell you right now, on a night that you're shooting 38% from the floor, I want to see 3 white jerseys under the rim. I want to see the white jersey that lifted it following the shot and one guy dropping back to prevent the cherry pick, okay? Didn't see it. So one guy going for the board, everybody else bailing out. So I said something about it on Twitter. Specifically the fact that, I'm big on trying to read the facial recognition and the body language of athletes in game because I think you can get a lot of information out about the game. There was a point, and don't get me wrong, Gigi was 5 of 14 and 2 of 6 from deep. It's not like he had a spectacular day, 13 points in that effort. But I looked up at one point where Gigi crossed the dude, lifted up about a 16-footer, missed. Gigi looked up and saw that before the rebound was even collected by the ECU Pirates, all 4 white jerseys, before the rebound was collected by ECU, Zoe, all 4 jerseys that weren't number 23 were already back in the defensive set. Ball's off the iron, in the air. As the Pirate is coming down with the ball, I looked at the defensive end. All 4 jerseys that weren't his were already setting up on the defensive side of the floor, right? And I looked back at Gigi, and he hit this number, Zoe. You know what I mean? Like the eye roll / head turn. Like, oh my God. You could see the frustration on his face. I know that there were a lot of transfers out.
How do you know they're not coached to do that, though? That they're not coached to hustle back down to the other end if you know for sure they got the rebound?
Then that is blank poor coaching if that is the case. If I ever heard that Lamont Paris told his boys, when the shot goes up, just go ahead and hustle back on defense, I would call for his firing and the firing of any basketball coach. I would call for the firing immediately. Rebounding is a huge chunk of the game. I don't have the breakdown in stats in front of me. Let me see if I can find them. Here it is. ECU, Lonzo, got, where'd it go? 23 rebounds on the defensive end. 23. That shows me that South Carolina's not crashing the boards on the offensive end. Flip side, on the offensive side of the basketball, I watched basically in the first half specifically a team who, if the first offensive set they run doesn't work, they panic. Right? They come down the floor, they got their set, screen here, pick there, dribble to this corner, pass, kick back to the top. I watched them run the first set, and if the first set does not work, they just panic.
So I guess I'm confused. You said you're not blaming the coach, but all these things seem to be things that could be fixed with better coaching.
I'm saying this. The roster is depleted because when Frank Martin got canned, remember this was, in fact, let's flash back. Remember, Lonzo, that when Frank Martin got canned, we had a very spirited conversation on the show. We had a very spirited conversation on the radio broadcast about players coming to play for a coach, not a particular team, right? We had a long conversation about guys and gals do not come to be a Gamecock. Guys and gals come to play for Frank Martin. They come to play for, whoever the head coach is. They don't necessarily show up to play for, to be a Gamecock. They come to play for Don Staley. They come to play for Frank Martin, Lamont Paris, Brad Brownell. They come to play for a coach. When Frank Martin got canned and Lamont Paris stepped in, a lot of guys that came to play for Frank Martin decided, okay, I'm not going to play here anymore. A couple followed him up to, where is he at, New York or whatever now. A couple more transferred elsewhere. That's just kind of how it goes. This is not even close to the best roster that South Carolina's had in a while. You got Gigi in there. That was a big pickup. Guy was the most highly touted and highly recruited player in this recruiting class. He is a one-and-done player. He will be in the National Basketball Association next year. Now, I'm going to tell you, if that's the best I can expect out of Gigi Jackson, he won't be a very high draft pick in the NBA, but he will be a draft pick. But he is playing with a ton of role players, and that's not disrespect. That just is what it is. I missed a lack of intensity. There were a lot of mistakes that I very much expect out of a high school caliber basketball team that I did not love. There was a lot that went wrong for this team that I expect better. Does Lamont get a grace period? Hell yeah, he does. Sure he does. He had success in the SoCon before he came here. He's had success recruiting since he got here. He is working with a roster that is minimalist at best. Yes, he does have a guy who is supposed to be one of the best players in college basketball, and unfortunately that guy has a very limited supporting roster around him. But again, when I see a team that sprints back on defense before the ball is actually rebounded by the opponent, when I see a team that does not follow its shots consistently, when I see a team that lacks a lot of composure, like I saw out of South Carolina in person on Saturday, I get concerned. But the good news is the event went well, and I expect we'll do it again next year. Had a lot of fun. They did a great job of involving the crowd. They did a great job of keeping the energy up in the building. They did a great job of making sure that you were entertained during breaks and whatnot. Thought it was a phenomenal event. Furman came in, played a nail-biter. Mike Bothwell knocked down a quite literally last-second jumper to win the game for them. Clemson got the dub before we all said goodnight. It is what it is. Great event. Awful performance from the Gamecocks. I thought they were going to have a chance to bounce back after an ugly road L to UAB. Not particularly excited about what's going to happen to their basketball team during SEC play. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We got one segment left in this radio broadcast. We'll hit a couple of final thoughts. We'll get out of here with Twitter trending topics. Do want to remind you that tomorrow's show is going to be a deep dive on the college football playoffs. Stats, figures, predictions, prognostications, and more on tomorrow's show. And then I'm off until the new year. So if you want to get it in now. It's your last chance. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yes, I did. Yes, I did accidentally turn my mic off before I was done talking.
Which counts. At least I think that counts.
That counts.
I know it's the opposite of, but still
counts. Ooh, got the roll. The friendly roll, the home cooking.
They were held to just 3 fourth-quarter field goals. The Steelers had 3 rushing touchdowns. The Panthers now in a 3-way tie for second place in the NFC South, 1 game behind Tampa Bay in the division. College football, both South Carolina and Clemson continuing to prepare for their upcoming bowl game. Number 7 Clemson taking on number 6 Tennessee. That'll be the Orange Bowl down in Miami on December 30th.
So our hallway now contains
December 30th, South Carolina
2 desks nobody wants, a chair nobody sits in, an extension cord that's broken so nobody can use.
And still, it's a great pleasure to be able to walk down that hallway 6 days a week.
Yes, it is. The wildest finish you'll ever see. Do you think that's the wildest finish we'll ever see?
No, but I don't look at things with such finality. As we know, I'm always willing to be wowed again by something else.
I like being wowed.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Okay, this is what we call the wild mushroom and asparagus dip, and fries. Come on, let's get those plates above your heads.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com.
If my legs are above my head, something terrible has happened.
And after a couple of weeks, our little Gizmo was acting like a puppy again. His coat was shinier, he had a lot less scratching and shedding, and he seemed like his happy old self.
My dog smelled and scratched.
Proof my head is messed up. That dog got me a little bit.
Like you were like, oh, there's a dog in the studio?
I jumped a little. I wasn't expecting it.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your
This commercial kills me every time.
Call Big Lou, a term provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Hi, I'm here on used PTO. It's almost the end of the year, and if you don't put me on a timesheet, I will be gone forever. Use me or lose me. Let's get away.
It's getaway time. Get our best deals of the season on a new Hyundai. It's your journey. Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Now get 0% APR, 0 payments for 90 days, and $500 bonus cash on select vehicles. Hurry to your local Hyundai dealer now during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offer ends 1/3/23. Call 1-562-314-4603 for complete offer details.
This afternoon, sunshine and some clouds, but chilly, high 47.
Weather brought to you by Pfizer and BioNTech. This fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed for recent Omicron variants. Learn more and schedule your updated booster at vaccines.gov.
Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app. Make the Fan Upstate a favorite.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Rob, Lonzo, you, if you'd like to sneak in here before we get out for today, hit us up. 844-326-3663. 844 fan phone is the phone number. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. Before we get out of here, Lonzo, the NFC South led by the now 6-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Panthers are 5-9. The Saints are 5-9. The Falcons are 5-9. The entire division within a game of itself. Is this the worst division in the history of the NFL? Like, we've had divisions that have been won by a bad team, but they're also spectacularly bad. They're within reach of each other.
But no, I don't think it's the worst. When the Panthers made the playoffs before with a losing record, and everybody else was pretty bad. In this case, everybody else is equally as bad. So that doesn't make it the worst.
Bad.
Yeah, or very competitive. I don't know, within their own division. They just can't beat anybody else.
Nobody can beat anybody in this division. It's
Although arguably the Panthers are still the best in division because they've won more in division games. I'm talking about in the South as far as that goes.
And I guess, like, if we're just looking for something.
Well, yeah,
We're looking for something here.
We're all looking for something, Rob.
I still haven't found what I'm looking for. That's you too, ladies and gentlemen. It'd be the great Bono.
You know, there are people out there who've never heard of YouTube before, Rob.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just trying to fix the world.
That just means you're old. There's probably some people that they're into now that you've never heard of before. How's that make you feel?
I'll tell you how I feel. I feel like I'm very tired of that's the first time that's happened since way back in the day, 1999. That's the first time that's happened since I was a child back in 2003. Shut up, children. The adults are talking. Yeah, it's getting tough out.
Meanwhile, at the beginning of the day, I was complaining to Lee Rogers in the newsroom about how getting old sucks because I can't even separate paper. So, I mean, you've got that to look forward to. I'm not licking my fingers. I ain't doing that. That's just weird. Anyone who licks their fingers to separate the papers.
How else do you do it?
You just use your fingers. I'd rather throw them on the floor and pick them up than lick my fingers.
Do you not occasionally wash your hands?
I wash my hands all the time, but I'm not licking my fingers to touch the paper.
Anyway, to Texter says Lonzo bangs on the ACC, but defends the NFC South. I don't think Lonzo or anybody else can defend the
How the
NFC
heck did I?
South.
How did I defend it?
Lonzo was simply pointing out the fact that the division is trash.
Yeah, you said could it be worse, and I said yes, because I mean, am I willing to do the research? Yeah, I probably should. To
I
go
believe the
back,
correct answer is yes, but not by much.
right? But still, it was worse the year that they made the playoffs with the losing record.
Which was what, 2014, if I recall correctly? This division's awful. It's embarrassingly bad is what it is. It's just embarrassingly bad. Anyway, your thoughts are welcome. Tampa's bad. Tampa had Cincinnati down, 17 at one point? Or 14? It was 17-3 at one point.
By the way, it was 2014. They were 7-8-1.
Nailed it. Tampa Bay had Cincinnati down 17-3 at one point. And, the lady friend was...
All right, I need to stop you one more time because I need to prove the point that I was making. That year in 2014, Carolina was 7-8-1, New Orleans 7-9, Atlanta 6-10, Tampa Bay 2-14. So yeah, this is not the worst the South has ever looked.
It is as bad as any division.
No, it's not as bad because you don't have that 2-14 Tampa Bay Buccaneers in there. Everybody's fairly even. It's very mid or whatever below mid is.
Exceptionally mid.
Yeah, there we go.
Exceptionally mid. Tampa had Cincinnati down. Couldn't finish them. Not just couldn't finish them, but let Cincinnati come back and finish them in pretty ridiculous style.
It's because Joe Burrow is like the coolest guy on the planet on the field.
Dude, Joey B is just ice water, man. Joey B is just ice water. He's really good, man.
He does appear to be unfazed by anything.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. So what are y'all's thoughts on where we stand as a whole right now? The division. Because I am beyond unimpressed at this point. Like, you're not very often going to hear Rob go like, nobody from this division deserves a playoff spot. But nobody from this division deserves a playoff spot. This division's just, I believe the kids say whack. This division's whack.
Here's the ultimate. I'm not sure if it's possible, but I hope so. The ultimate would be at the end of the regular season, it's nothing but a tie.
Just everybody's square.
Everybody's tied. It probably can't happen, but I hope it can. Because, if that happens, Carolina wins the division. So.
This division's so trash. I'm really trying to look for any reason to believe in it. It's just garbage.
This is just a guest, also known as a guest, that Views from Mint Street today is not going to be very positive.
No.
But the cool part about it is we can vent and instead of being beholden to the team and have to rah-rah the team, we can actually speak what we feel about the team. So if you also are disgusted by what you've seen, then make sure you tune in.
Yeah. There's just...
James says the winner deserves to get trashed by Detroit in the first round.
Is there anybody but me that kind of has this sneaky suspicion that somehow, some way, Tom Brady is going to find his way in somehow, some way? Tom Brady's going to make his way into the playoffs and then beat somebody in the first round that's like a Super Bowl favorite. I'm just waiting for it. Texas says, you think the AFC South is better? No.
No, it's not. You know,
the AFC South being trash doesn't lessen the trash that is the South.
I missed my cue, but we got to at least get one in here because I just saw this. Robert De Niro is trending.
Why is Robert De Niro trending?
All right, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. Robert De Niro is trending because a lady broke into his Upper East Side apartment and just started taking his presents from under his tree.
Yo, you got to be a certified G to decide to steal the gifts out from Robert De Niro.
No, you don't. Have you seen him lately? He's wearing cardigans and stuff. There are people out there who are probably in his building have no idea who Robert De Niro is.
I take great offense to the thought that I can wear a cardigan and not be a badass.
Come on. It's a cardigan. Please.
I rock a cardigan like a G.
Okay. The other thing that's trending is Goldberg is trending.
Goldberg.
You should see this. The Clippers mascot came out with the security guards and everything, and they actually had Goldberg up on the screen talking about the Clippers mascot. And finally, one last thing. Tom Cruise is trending.
I don't know why Tom Cruise is trending. I did see a picture the other day that made me crack up. It had Will Smith on top of what's that giant building in Qatar? The Burj Khalifa or whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
The Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
The Mia
I think
Khalifa,
that's
whatever it is.
The official. I don't know if it's that, but yeah.
There was a picture of Tom Cruise up there, and he's just like legit just sitting up there. And then they show Will Smith, and he's like clipped in 1,000 places. And they're like, this is why Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, and you're not.
All right, Tom Cruise has just executed what they're considering the greatest stunt in cinema.
And that is?
You got to watch it. There's actually a behind-the-scenes clip or a making of it.
Yeah.
It's like 9 minutes. It's a featurette. That's what it's called. There's like a 9-minute featurette. I just saw it earlier.
Okay. Tom Cruise is known to do some crazy boat.
I don't want to spoil it. You need to watch it. But yeah, he's just flat out stupid.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for us. His name is Lonzo. I am Rob Brown. Texas says, cheer the Panthers on as they do the unthinkable, make the playoffs, and get a top 10 pick in the same year. They might. Y'all, we're back tomorrow. College football playoff will be the primary topic tomorrow, and then I'm off till 2023. See you back here for the final 6 hours of the year next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. James says Brady's going to beat the Eagles and I'm going to be sick. I mean, it would only be fitting, right?
That's not happening. That's not happening.
All right, guys and gals, y'all are the best. We appreciate you, and we will see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again. Have a great rest of your Monday. Goodbye.